Welcome to Red9SysTech. Myself, Karthik Ponnuswamy. Today, we are going to see one of the coding challenge in Java with respect to an array. Guys, you guys might hear about array, right? Which is a data structure, which is very simple in nature, which is used to store the data and you can able to easy to retrieve it, right? So before we get into the problem statement and then trying to resolve it, let's quickly capture the context of an array, right? Just to refresh our knowledge about array. So array is very simple data structure, which is to store the data, which is of only the same data type, which is nothing but homogeneous data type, right? So each element in the array is nothing but like it is storing the data is stored in a block of memory, which is nothing but like they are stored in a sequential manner. Because of it is storing sequential manner, the data can be accessed easily, which means like it is easy to find the data because it is going to arrange in a sequential order, right? Because the collections of elements in an array is stored in big block of data, we usually refer each element in an array with the help of a concept called index, right? So let's say whenever you know how many objects we are going to deal with, then definitely you can go for simple data structure, which is none other than array. Okay, there are different types of array we have: one dimensional, multi-dimensional. For now, we are going to test our knowledge with respect to coding knowledge with respect to one dimensional array. So let's get into deeper about the array problem statement. So here there is a sample code they have given, and here is the task they have given. So let's read the task. So the code we have to write in a way that it has to read an integer from the stdin and save it to a variable n, and then it should be some number, right? So they will be giving some number in this, and that denotes to the range, right? What is the range of it? And then we have to try to print all the elements in that array. Okay, which means like if you guys see here already the scanner class has been initiated here, which means like the value n will be the number of elements, which is nothing but the array length, right? Array will have its length, and each and every element we are going to denote with the help of index, array index. Now what we have to do here is, here first of all they are going to give what is the length of the array, then they are going to give the number of elements which we are going to add it. Let's say not the number of elements, the value of the element, the actual elements they are going to give it. So here we have to create an integer array, and that we have to store it, and we have to get the data from the user, and then we have to print it. So for that, first we need to start writing an integer array. So how to create an array? So array can be represented with the help of square brackets, right? And here I want to create an integer array because I want to store only integer objects, right? So int array, here I have to call it as a name as a is equal to new int array of, here I have to give the length of the array, because whenever I create an array I should know how many number of elements I'm going to store inside this array. Since I'm going to store the number of elements is something but like the number of objects, right? The length of the array is something but I'm going to give it in the input, which is nothing but scanner, right? Which is nothing but n. So this n is nothing but the length of the array which I'm going to get it. So I'm going to create an array or initialize an array of a, integer array of a, and I'm going to store it here with the help of the value which I'm getting it from the user. Now I want to iterate all the elements, right? I want to iterate all the elements from this array, and I have to store it, right? Which means I have to give, the user will be giving the data with the scanner, and for each scanner input I need to get it, and then I have to store it inside this array. So how can I do that? So before I close the scanner class, what I can do, for int I equal to 0, I have to say I less than n, which is nothing but until the length of the array I have to get it, right? So I have to iterate it I plus plus. Then what I can do here, I can call scan dot next integer, because I am going to get it from the user, right? So I have to say scan dot next int of, okay, so till the end of array you are going to get the data, till the length of the array you are going to get the data, but you have to assign it to what? I have to assign it to array, right? Which means array of I, which means the first value what I'm getting it from the scanner will be stored here in the a of 0, a of 1, like that. Okay, so now all the values are stored here. Here is the method which is already there to print the number of elements. Now let's go and run the code. Okay, here we go. Yes, so we are able to process it, right? You see here the first is nothing but the number of elements which are we going to store it in array, which is nothing but length of the array, which is 5, which means this array can store 5 elements, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and finally we are going to print output as 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, right? Expected amount and our outputs are same, which means like our test case are passed, which means we are able to iterate the data what we are giving in the input, and then we are able to store it into an array, and then we are able to print it as well. I hope this is very clear, guys. If you guys have any questions on this video, please post your comments. Also, if you guys have any idea about like suggesting some of the new concepts which I want to take it as a Java coding challenge, please post your comments. And I appreciate if you can like this video if you really like it, and then also can share it with your friends. Thank you guys. I will see you in the next coding challenge. Thank you. Bye. Take care.